Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The New World. And today, we will be talking about the 49ers and discuss just how hard the Madden cover curse hit the team who was just a drive away from a Super Bowl victory. But before we hop into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button as we are on the road to 10K subs. Turn on those notifications and stay tuned for more content, and comment your thoughts on the 49ers season this year and if you think the Madden cover curse had anything to do with it. Now fellas, how bad did the Madden cover curse strike the 49ers, and are their playoff chances out the window?
Talking about the Madden curse and referring to a team as new, it definitely has hit CMC. The Madden curse is a real thing, guys. It's a serious thing. This man was hurt to start the season, comes back, and is out for the remainder of the season. So it definitely hit his ass. But I think it's a more compelling conversation is the team and what their future outlook is going to be. As we're recording this, they did just take a very, very boring and stagnant L to the Los Angeles Rams. It was pretty rough for them. Brock Purdy, he had a very poor night coming off of that great game against the Chicago Bears where they put up 38 points, and he had a QB rating of 145, which I think has only been done a few times, and he has multiple games with 145 quarterback rating, but he came back down to earth. Unfortunately, whenever it starts raining, which it is likely to happen in San Francisco, Brock Purdy folds up because he has tiny hands. He has baby hands. If we're just looking at these stats and looking at the production, they only scored 6 points. 6 points. And this is the guy that people were telling me yesterday was in the MVP conversation. He was 14 of 31, 142 passing yards with a pick, with a 45. So basically, he had the same performance. He had the same QB rating as last week, but you just remove the 1 and it's just a 45. I really want to talk about Brock Purdy and his downward trajectory of this season. People love to talk about him and his stats exclusively without taking into account the phenomenal talent that he has had. And I think that this 49ers team last year was their opportunity, their last opportunity. They have to rebuild. All of their guys they depended on last year and the year prior went down with some type of injury, and they're older. All these guys are in their 30s. Christian Mccaffrey is over the hill. Debo is done. Like, he's done. He's a washed product. He had 2 drops today. He was not effective at all. Niggas don't fear him. I guess it's the jersey change. That nigga lost aura. Brandon Ayuk out for the season, but when he was playing, wasn't really playing that well. Kittles has been consistent, but he is in his 30s. Trent Williams is out right now. He's also older. It is time for them to revamp the roster. It is time for them to rebuild. You missed your window. This is a big F up on the organization because they had plenty of opportunities. And they got to the Super Bowl how many times in the Kyle Shanahan regime? This iteration of the 49ers is finished. If we're looking at Brock Purdy, he has gone down because when he does not have talent, what did Cam Newton talk about? You have game managers and game changers. He is a game manager. Like we told you guys before the season started, we had a whole bunch of people on our Brock Purdy video that were calling us haters and a lot of 49er fans. I didn't know Brock Purdy had that many fans, but he does. And they were defending him because you had so many stats to back it last year and the year before that, and he made the Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, they lost. And the argument that I made was that if you take 20 and 25 quarterbacks and put them on a team with that level of talent from last year, they also get to the Super Bowl and they may even win the Super Bowl because the Chiefs were vulnerable. You mean to tell me if you put a Matthew Stafford on that Chiefs team, if they can't win that Super Bowl? Stop it. So when I'm looking at Brock Purdy's numbers, and last year he was fantastic statistically, but he wasn't even the MVP on his own team. He had a passer rating of 113 last year. Now he has a passer rating of 98. That's not even factoring his future performance today of having a passer rating of 45. And that's also factoring in the fact that last week he had a quarterback rating of 145. That's taking all of that into account. So that's going to go down. All of his numbers are down this year. 15 touchdowns this season, 8 interceptions, 9 now. We're including this game. Everything is down. He's turning the football over a lot now, and he can't hold on to the ball because he has small hands. When you get to this type of level and you don't have that requisite talent surrounding you, then you have to depend on your actual abilities. And it's not just about what's going on between the ears. Is Brock Purdy high IQ? Maybe, but you got one of the greatest play callers in the game right now at your disposal. Everything is on time with Brock Purdy. Like, he's throwing the football in anticipation. because he's confident these guys are going to run routes and they're going to get open. That's the offense. Jimmy Garoppolo ran this offense and they went to the Super Bowl. Are we forgetting that? That happened. We can't just go over that fact. It has happened. So the talent has gone down. His performance has gone down, and they're not winning as much. So as of now, they are 6-8 on the season. They are not going to make the playoffs. The Rams are ahead of them in that division, and the Seahawks are ahead of them in that division. So they're not going anywhere. So it's time to rebuild. Problem is that they're still going to act like they're in works to contend when they're not, which means that the team is going to continue to be competitive, and you're not going to get a high draft pick, which is going to my next point of what they should do next. So as of now, it's been a while since we talked about the financials, but with Brock Purdy, he is expecting a contract in the near future, so we need to talk about it. As of now, Brock Purdy is only accounting for 0.39%, so less than 1% of the 49ers cap. He is the 37th highest paid player on this team, and he is the quarterback. Prior to this season, you've been able to win at a high level, but look at that roster. With the straight face, everyone tell me this roster can improve if this man is making $50-55 million a year. Can it? He hasn't shown us that he can get it done without the best talent in the league at his disposal. As I said, Debo's done, CMC is done, Trent is old, IU, big question mark with that injury. Where is the talent? They have to start over. So it's looking like they're going to have to rebuild. Are you sure that Brock Purdy is the guy? Are you sure you want to rebuild around this guy when he's going to be getting paid $50, $55, hell, $60 million? Because look at the previous quarterback that just got paid, Dak Prescott, and they're talking about, well, Jerry can't surround him with the requisite talent because he's getting paid so much. But is Brock Purdy better than Dak? People have to be honest. You've seen what Dak Prescott has been over the course of his career, large sample size. We've seen Brock Purdy have top 5, top 10 stats. But that's a 2-year sample size. He was Mr. Irrelevant. So is he good? Yes. Is he great? We don't know. I have a hell of a lot more questions, but if I'm the San Francisco 49ers organization, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, this is what I'm doing. Waiting. I'm waiting. I will wait. I will wait and see how this season unfolds. How does Brock Purdy respond? And if we don't make the playoffs, I will make him prove it next season because he's under contract till 2026. I'm not comfortable giving this man $55 million when we don't have the best talent in the league. We don't have it anymore. We got to start fresh. Debo is probably getting traded. So we have to rebuild. It's extremely hard to rebuild if you are paying a guy $60 million and you have expiring contracts. They're paying guys a lot of money. What I would do is I will offer him similar money to what Baker Mayfield got down there in Tampa. Baker got 3 years, $100 million, which seems pretty low. So that's an average of $33 million per year. But if I'm offering to Brock Purdy, that sounds fair to me. If you don't like it, then don't take it or don't play. You were the last pick in the draft, sir. You're getting paid $900,000. This is a phenomenal deal for you. Don't get full of yourself, guy. Based on your play, our team, our future, this is more than adequate. And if Brock Purdy refuses, then you continue with the rebuild. Because then, if Brock Purdy decides not to play, or you decide to move on from him or whatever, then you're going to be one of the worst teams, but that's fine because then you can go and get yourself a quarterback in the draft at a cheap deal. Probably a few more million more than you were paying Brock Purdy. So win-win. So the Niners have all the leverage. Where is Brock Purdy going to go? Nobody is going to give him what the Niners are going to give him. And what situation right now is better than his current situation? This is the franchise that drafted you. Every single franchise, Brock Purdy, because if the Niners are going to take my logic and they're going to lowball him, quote unquote, and Brock Purdy is like, okay, I'll take my talents elsewhere, you need to remember that every single franchise said no to you 7 times, Brock Purdy. 7 times. The 49ers were the only team that took a chance on you. Remember that, sir.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about the 49ers issues this year. I think it has been pretty much documented. A lot of it has to fall onto the fact of, you're playing a contact sport like football. You're going to have injuries. You're going to have setbacks. Players just not going to be as good as they were in the seasons prior. We've seen that with countless examples. Deebo Samuel, all the skill positions, they just haven't really been up to par as they were last year when they went to Super Bowl. And I really have to start with Kyle Shanahan because I think his system of coaching is kind of outdated in this current NFL. And it's really been on display since the Atlanta Super Bowl, the 28-3 infamous lone lead. But they have just disappointed like everybody. And it's so funny because I have fans that are actually San Francisco 49ers fans, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be back next year. But really, what is the ceiling of this team if you're gonna be back next year and you're probably gonna make a Super Bowl run where NFC championship game, or you make the Super Bowl and you still lose to the Kansas City Chiefs? What is the actual ceiling of this team? Because it seems like you're just going nowhere and you're just going backwards. You're just taking steps backwards. I thought their chance to win it last year was honestly a bit fraudulent too, because they had a lot of wins in that postseason, all the way up to the Super Bowl. That was kind of fluky to me. Like the one against the Lions was really, really fluky, that blown lead. And then also the one where Jordan Love just got CTE from Brett Favre. I thought that one was very, very suspicious. Like they have not really showcased to me that they have been a great team for the most part, and they're not doing it this year. They just lost again to the LA Rams, and I repeat, a no touchdown game. So it was 12-6 when they lost this game. 12-6. Neither team scored a touchdown, so they lost this game, and they're really kind of out of the hunt. Like the season is like over for them, to be honest, because they're not going to win a division. That's pretty much guaranteed. And it's like you kind of just have to start over again. And my thing with starting over is that if you start over, you're still going to get to a certain point, because I feel like this team is maxed out. I feel like Brock Purdy has showed to you that he's a pretty good quarterback, but he's not a quarterback that can get you over the top. And if he's going to get you over the top, you're going to have all his guys got to be there for him. And they just have not been there defensively and offensively. And defensively, they had a good show on tonight, but offense, they just didn't bring it, man. Like Deebo Samuel dropping passes. Deebo Samuel has been really, really bad. Ever since he put that number 1 on his jersey, he's been like almost all time bad. And I knew it was over for Deebo Samuel when this dude's returning kicks. Like, dude, that's how you know it's over. Like, insert, next KG meme, but dude, when you're a skill position returning kicks, what did Young Thug say, man? Your career over. Anyways, though, don't even get me started on Deebo Samuel, because he came into the season fat, out of shape. Like, that's how you know the 49ers, they really don't care, because you got players like Deebo Samuel coming to the season out of shape. Brandon Ayuk, don't get me started on him. He was dropping passes in the beginning of the season. Then he got injured in a horrifying injury, but he didn't come in fit, healthy, all this stuff. Like, no, he just didn't care. This team doesn't care, and I don't think the fans should care. So this is a wash season for them. And don't even get me started on Bosa. This dude's gonna wear a MAGA hat, at the end of a post game. Like, dog, what are you doing? What are you doing? Nobody cares about your political ideas. Nigga, I'm just trying to watch some football. And you over here wearing a MAGA hat, trying to promote it in the camera. Like, what, dude? Like, even his teammates looking at him like, man, here this guy go. Here he go. Like, he do this all the time. And I get,
Come on, man. He's trying to have some fun, man.
No. I understand he has a chip on his shoulder. Like, when he named the best quarterbacks in the league, he was like, he named basically everybody. Like, but he really didn't name Lamar. Like the interview that asked him the question, he was like, oh yeah, what about Lamar Jackson? He was like, oh yeah, Lamar's pretty good. But like, Lamar's one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. You don't name him? Like, what? Like, did he come out did he not just come into your pause? But was he not in your head to think about, for you not to name him? You feel me? So Nick Bosa, don't even get me started on him. And his brother's washed too. His brother's just living off his name. So, and I know he's playing for the Chargers, but he just called a random straight. But Joey Bosa's just running off the name at this point. And what he did in 2017, he's really not that great. So I want them to just, honestly, it feels bad to me, because the only person I see when I watch this team trying is Fred Warner, and he's playing on literally a bad leg, and he's giving his all. He's number 1 in Pro Football Focus. He's going to be an All-Pro this year, and he's giving his all, but this team does not care. And as I repeat so much on this channel, why should you, San Francisco 49ers fan? And for the 49ers fan, I want to repeat this before I give it off to Jay. All these guys are in our comments with the Brock Purdy video, when we told y'all Brock Purdy wasn't who y'all thought he was, and he was in MVP combos last year alongside Dak and his fellow running back. and also Lamar Jackson. He was in MVP combos with these guys. And what does he prove to us this year? What does he prove to us? He hasn't proved to us nothing. Brock Purdy has proved to us that in meaningless games, he has been, and I won't say stat pattern, but he has been able to get those stats up. Get those stats up in those games. And I won't get on to him for stat pattern, but when he plays against a real team, when he played against the Chiefs, when he played against, a team, I can call the LA Rams a real team. When he played against teams like that, what has he done? He's folded. He has folded like Flat Stanley. He has folded like a lawn chair on your porch. He has just folded. So this is not the guy who I think I would trust to honestly win a championship with this roster if I'm the GM. And he's not really worth much now. So I look forward to not really paying him as much as he's like desires, as Val said, because he's not gonna put me over the top. So why should I pay him that much money? Like, just Deebo Samuel, man. Like, brother, lose some pounds, man. Lose some pounds.
I was shocked because I think Buffy and I were talking about it because he had they said he had pneumonia or something. One of those games that he missed. And I'm looking on the side. I'm like, CJ, is Deebo out of shape? Like, what's really going on? How you coming to the season out of shape? They're not serious, and that may kind of go to coaching. Maybe it's time for a different voice because Deebo Samuel, and I'm pretty sure a lot of those guys, they clearly got trauma from continuing to get there but not get over that hump. They got trauma because he was like, man, we get there, even though based on this roster and what I've seen, they knew they weren't getting there this year. But he was like, man, we get there and we don't win. I don't know. Guys don't talk like that unless he's suffering PTSD. Mahomes got these guys suffering from PTSD. It is that bad. So they need to break up that team because they're not going back. And the mentality, mentally, they don't want to win a championship. They're not together as a team. It's a bunch of individuals on the team. They may need a new voice in that locker room.
Yeah, man, to go ahead and answer the question, I do think McCaffrey was definitely cursed with the Madden curse. I mean, he came back from, some horrible knees, and then he comes back and he just messes him up again. Like, I just feel for the brother. Like, this dude was on Hall of Fame trajectory. Like, if he didn't have all these injuries, this was like, last year was like his first basically full season. And then to come back to this, I mean, it's tough. And like, I honestly think that this dude should go back to his dad. Cause I mean, like his dad did say before going to the NFL with me, you see, he wasn't hurt. But I mean, I guess going to all those NFL trainings and stuff, it was different for him and his body. I mean, it definitely looked like this curse might have hit the 49ers as well. Cause, you look back at previous Maddens, some of these guys were really cursed, like Mahomes, Brady, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. They were really cursed. And then I guess all those, skipping over, I guess they just came to the 49ers and, that kind of swallowed them up. Pause. Brock Purdy, he's a game manager. This isn't nothing new. A lot of people were giving us hate for it and slandering us when, the film shows it. He only played good against sorry teams and he played bad and didn't show up against good teams. So Cam Newton was right. We were right. Suck it. And Brandon Ayuk, he was hurt. And he was focused on that contract, coming into this season. And he was clearly showing, his emotions and, kind of acting out until he got his money. And when he did, he wasn't prepared. He wasn't in shape and he wasn't with the team. So that was already halting. And when he did actually, come back a couple of games in, he wasn't even playing good. So he didn't show up. Deebo Samuel, ever since switching to number one, he hasn't showed up. Brother, I might need to snatch your chain because the drop off is crazy. This dude was like a top 5 receiver not that long ago. And now all of a sudden, the drop off is like wild. This dude, like Caleb and Mal said, brother, he looks out of shape. He's a pretty hefty big dude. Like, it's hard to tackle him. Like, a lot of people bounce off of him. Like, not that long ago, a couple of days ago, he's tweeting about nothing wrong with me. I'm just not getting the ball. Sir, stats say that you are the second most targeted person on this team, and you want to complain and say you're not getting the ball. And then when I watched this past Rams game that y'all lost to by mere field goals, you dropped both of your catches. And when I saw that first catch that you dropped, brother, that was an easy first down completion and you dropped that? Are you serious? And you want to complain and talk about I don't get the ball? Like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? I mean, there's no discredit to the defense. I mean, the defense has been doing their thing time in and time out. I mean, they're a top 3 defense in the league once again. So there's nothing bad about the defense. If anything, I feel sorry for them that they got to sit here and always make up for the offense not showing up. Brock Purdy, we've been saying this time in and time out. The dude hasn't showed that, he's just outstanding. I mean, he's a good quarterback, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially coming from being the last pick of the draft. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but he's not nothing gaudy. And I stand by this once again. If Trey Lance was there in his position and he never got hurt, they still would have made the Super Bowl, because that's just how good this team is. Like, that's a fact. If Josh Dobbs was playing, I mean, they would have made the Super Bowl. Like, that's how great this team is built. Because Brock Purdy was, his head was getting filled up this offseason. He was talking all kinds of ways to his star guys, like he was just, a leader who came from multiple Super Bowls and this and that. I mean, he just, started looking good last season, and his head was getting big. So reality is just striking for him, and it's time for him to pipe down, because that's what it's looking like right now.
I will say this though, based on how Deebo Samuel is playing, I'm not mad at Brock Purdy for getting on to him, because he been playing shitty as hell. So if he was getting on to him in practice, he probably had some merit behind it. He was like, dude, you look like ass right now. You need to, you don't look like old Deebo.
Yeah. Brock Purdy might have been right on that one, because Deebo ain't showed up at all. So Brock Purdy, I might have to applaud you on that one, because hey, that brother ain't showed up.
Did you guys hear about? Apparently, they were raving about Brock Purdy last week. He made some crazy speech, and they were commending him on his leadership, even though they're playing the Bears, who have lost 8 straight. And now, where that leadership at? All them Brock Purdy fans, I need y'all to step up, because y'all were getting at us, calling us casual, saying that we were hating, our content is satirical. Where are y'all at? This video need to drop ASAP, because I need to see where those people are, especially after this loss.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear y'all after that, because I mean, film is showing what we were saying, but nobody wants to listen. That's cool now. Like Josh said, stay on that side. We fine over here. Right now, the 49ers, I mean, they're definitely not making it to the playoffs, because the Rams own them this season. They beat them twice. The Cardinals beat them. They played the Cardinals again, and the Seahawks, they're 1-1 with them. So I mean, they've lost 4 division games, so they're cooked on that. They're 6-8, which I mean is crazy. This team was literally just come off a Super Bowl, and even going into this season, I didn't have them playing this bad. I had them making it back to the playoffs, but I mean, geez, I mean, it's horrible. They really didn't deserve to make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, they got lucky because, like Caleb said, Jordan Love did have a little bit of CTE kicking in. Maybe it was the ghost of Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers or something that came in and took over his body for a little bit, and did what he did. Because I mean, I was literally smacking my head after that play, after that horrible play that really gave the 49ers that NFC championship berth. And then once again, the Lions. I will always continue to talk about this one man, Josh Reynolds, dropping both times those catches on a 3rd down conversion that literally could have gave them a 1st down and then put them in range to score. He dropped both of them, both times. I will continue to get on that man for that. 49ers lucked out because they just got a great team built to make it to the Super Bowl, and now they're just coming back down. All that glory is kind of out the window. And 49ers fans, I mean, what do y'all expect from this team anymore? Because I don't know if are they going to touch the Super Bowl again? The Detroit Lions, I mean, they've been clicking like crazy. The Packers, I mean, they've been balling. They got Josh Jacobs, and Matt LaFleur is coaching his butt off. The Eagles, even though they got some stuff going on with them, they still got probably the best running back in the league. A defense who stepped up, a great line, and I mean, look at them. Because at first, we thought they might have been cooked at the beginning of the season. Look at them now. And the Vikings, I mean, they've been balling. Sam Darnold been balling. I mean, these teams are up. And meanwhile, the 49ers are going down. So this year is definitely a down year for them. Hopefully they can bounce back next season, because they ain't making the playoffs. So whatever they need to figure out, they need to figure it out. Because, I mean, they're not getting any draft picks. Because, I mean, they've been a top team in the league for so long. So they don't got any draft picks. Yeah, 49ers fans, what's going on?